All right, everybody, welcome to the CloudYeti live stream. This is a live stream where I'll be debugging my own cost for my AWS account, and I'll be trying to reduce my cost. So let's jump in right away. So let's start with the problem statement. What's happening right now is that I have a unknown cost on my AWS account, as you can see on the screen right here. My API gateway cost is way too high. I mean, I'm a solo dev, right? I'm not a big company. This is just for demo, but this is something that happens at a large scale. Like this is happening to me as a solo dev, right? The cost has gone up a bit, and let me show you. Let's actually go back to billing and cost management for my account and month to date cost. And if I actually go from January to now, I can see, let's see, my cost is already high, but you'll also see that if I group by service, or if I actually group by cost category, let's see what I get. Hold on. Usage type maybe. Yeah, you'll see that my cost for API gateway has shot up from, let's see how much. Basically $0 to $16. Let me see if there's a better way to do this, and I should have a better way to do this. So this is my cost explorer. Once again, let's slow down a bit. And I can see the month over month cost by going into maybe I start December 1st and say show me all the cost this way, right? So December my cost was $60. I did optimize some of the costs recently, but you can see that my cost from December to January is already decreasing, and we'll see why, right? We'll see why just in a bit here. But let's see. Group by service. Yeah. So the cost for December was mostly because of my domain, $30 spent in domain. So, you know, it's really not that much of a cost. Give me a few seconds, guys. I'm trying to find a better way to visualize what I'm trying to say. Okay, this is it. So let's go all the way from November 1st to February 28th, right? Okay, you'll see my cost in November was $120. December was a bit low. January was about $30, and now I'm predicted to go up to about $42. And this is not good, right? Once I have the cost down, you know, I want to kind of see why the cost is going up and that kind of stuff. So I noticed something though, you know, I noticed that when I and let's go back again. And let me do, instead of 131, I'm going to say 2 28. Okay, I mean, it's not letting me do 228. Let's do 215. No. December 1st to February 15th. Come on, what the hell is happening? Oh. So 25, 11, 01 to 2026, February 15th. Let's see. All right. Now this gives me a better view. Gosh, it took me so long, and there's a shortcut to get this view right away. I haven't done this in a bit. I used to do this day in and day out as part of my previous role like 3 years ago, so I'm kind of a bit rusty in this, but I want to get back to this. I want to get back to cost optimization and show you guys how it is done, but apologize for my rustiness there to get to this view, and this view will give me a good place to start on my problem statement. So if we go back to November 2025, my cost was about $120, but $86 came from registrar, which is my domain, right? Domain is when I register a domain like CloudYeti.io, I pay like 70 something dollars a year. So that's out of my control, right? That is something that I chose to buy. So if we ignore the registrar, the cost for November is basically like $39, right? December cost was also influenced by registrar, but other than that, it was like $31, right? Registrar 30, everything else 61. If you see, the cost of API gateway is 0 for December, right here, right? The cost for API gateway right above others is 0. January, the cost for API gateway is still 0. Now, this month though, I noticed that the cost for API gateway has shot up, right? And I've been creating a AWS cost optimization tool. I've been vibe coding a cost optimization tool, and I was randomly looking at what the cost for me was, and I saw API gateway. I never see API gateway in my cost report. API gateway basically never cost me any money. So this month, me getting a cost of $15 is definitely a red flag to me. So what I'm going to do now is do my thing, right? Which is to try to optimize this cost, and this is why we're here. And before I do that, let me go to my YouTube and let me see if we have any questions and things like that. Oh crap. Where are we streaming? No, we are streaming. We are live and things, but we don't have any viewers. Oh crap. All right. So far so good. I'm just gonna, where are we streaming? Do this regardless. So the first step that I'll be doing to deep dive on this and things, but we don't have any, to go to my viewers API gateway account. Crap. All right. So far so good. I'm just gonna, where are we streaming? Do this regardless. And I already see a problem. I see 38 different APIs.
The first
I
step
actually deleted
that I'll
a
be
few just
doing
before this
no,
stream
we are
dive on
on
this.
this.
But I have way too many
We're going
APIs.
to
I'm
go
once
to
again a
my
solo
new API
developer.
gateway.
This is my
Account.
my personal account.
Alright. So far so good.
There's a lot of things going on, including this hot dog API, which is way old, right? There's 38
way old.
different APIs.
the first
one thing you can always do is, especially if you dive on this, but I have way too many. Identify something that shouldn't be in the database environment. This is my
constantly keep
my
deleting.
personal account.
So
obviously, be careful when you
things
delete
going on,
stuff, including this hot dog
especially
API,
if
which is
production
way
is
old.
old.
But this is once again my dev account, and I see something that one thing we can go way back, like just 9 years ago, 2017. But I have way too many. Identify something that shouldn't be in the environment. This is definitely something I don't constantly keep deleting some of these. Obviously, be careful when you delete stuff, which may hinder our production capacity. But this is once again my dev account, and I see something that one thing we can go way back, like just 9 years ago, 2017. But I have way too many. Identify something that shouldn't be in the environment. This is definitely something I don't constantly keep deleting, causing all of this. Obviously, be careful when things going on, which may hinder our production capacity. But this is once again my dev account, and I see something that one thing we can go way back, like way 9 years ago, 2017. But I have way too many. Identify something that shouldn't be in the environment. This is definitely something I don't constantly registration causing all of this. Obviously, I think I can be careful when things going on, which may hinder our capacity. But this is once again my dev account, and I see something. And this is just showing you that way back, like way 9 years ago, 2017. But I have way too many. Identify something that shouldn't be in the environment. This is something I don't constantly registration causing all of this. Obviously, I think I can be careful when things going on, which may hinder our capacity. But this is once again my so I went to a few different. This is just showing you that way back. Help me find 9 years ago, 2017. What I identify something that shouldn't be in the environment. This is something I don't constantly I tried to use the environment. Obviously, I can be careful. But this is once again. So I went to a few different. This is just showing you that way back. Help me find 9 years ago, 2017. What I maybe what I can do is I can CloudWatch. I tried to use the environment. Obviously, I can be careful. But this is once again. So I went to a few different places just showing you that way back. Help me find 9 years ago, 2017. What I maybe what I can do is I can CloudWatch. Now I see that I already have the environment. Obviously, if I go back but this is once again. So I went to a few different places just showing you that way back. Help me find 9 years ago, 2017. What I go back, what I can do is I can CloudWatch. Now I see that I already have the environment. Obviously, it seems to be go back very this is once again. So I went to a few different places just showing you that way back. Help me find I noticed that the count is already if I go back. What I can do is something weird is happening. Now I see that I already have the environment. Obviously, it seems to be go back very this is once again. So I went to a few different places just showing you that way back. Help me find I noticed that the count is already if I go back. What I can do is something weird is happening. Now I see that I already have the environment. Obviously, it seems to be go back very this is once again. So I went to a few different places just showing you that way. I noticed that the count is already in the last 6. What I can do is something weird is happening. Now I see that I already have the environment. Obviously, it seems to be go back very go back to my cost management. So I went to a few different places just showing you that way. I noticed that the count is already in the last 6. What I can do is something weird is go from see that I already have the environment. Obviously, it seems to be go back very today, and I can see go back to my actually if I do dimension is usage type. I can see that the usage type is API gateway request. Right. So that gives me hint number 1. Hint number 1 is this is a request related call today, and I can see go back to my actually if I do dimension is usage type. I can see that I have a usage type API gateway request. Right. So that gives me hint number 1. Hint number 1 is this is a request related call today, and I can see go back to my actually if I do dimension cost related to API gateway request. And I can see that I have a last thing is API gateway data transfer. So that gives me hint number one. And I could be wrong. Hint number one is this is a one-off request related today. And focus on the request. Actually, if I do this is a cost related to one API gateway request. And I can see that I have a last thing is API gateway data transfer. So that gives me hint number one. And I could be wrong. Hint number one is this is a one-off, especially around the request related today. And focus on the request. Actually, if I do this is a cost related to one API gateway request. And I can see that I have a this is just last thing is API gateway data transfer. So that gives me hint number one. And I could be wrong. Hint number one is this is a one-off, especially around the request related graph today. And focus on the request. Actually, if I do this is a cost related to one API gateway request. I can see that I have a this is just for some reason I'm just opening this for so that gives me single API, the JX. And I could be wrong. Hint number one is this is a one-off, especially around the request related graph today. And focus on the request. Actually, so what I'm going to do is and I've been doing this. One API, I've been doing this all the time. But this is for some reason I'm just opening this for so that gives me single. Let me. Let me do this. Let's go to ChatGPT. Right, let's seek some help from ChatGPT. And we'll say AWS API gateway metrics on CloudWatch is incomplete in my account for some reason. When I go to, and I can paste, ChatGPT will understand what I'm doing. I only seem to be getting metrics for a single API, right? So what we're doing now is we're doing some kind of AI ops, right? I mean, at this point, everyone using computers or doing these kind of engineering work is probably using ChatGPT or Claude on some level, right? But because we're debugging cost and like metrics, this is like AI driven ops, right? We're debugging with AI. We're like deep diving with AI. So let's see what AI helps us do. You're filtering on the wrong dimension for most of your APIs. Your metrics explorer query is da 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 da. That will only return APIs that publish metrics with the API ID dimension. That is API Gateway v2, HTTP. But REST APIs will publish metrics using API name and often method resource, not API ID. Okay, so we learned something, right? I was not aware of this. So they simply won't show up in that filter view, which makes it look like CloudWatch is missing metrics. In CloudWatch metrics, API Gateway, try by API name and by API ID. Okay. Okay, so let's do this. Let's see what we get when we do this. So once again, AWS API Gateway here, and it says we should try by API name or by API ID, right? Okay, I do see API ID here and here. So I can just paste this. Let's give some hints to a ChatGPT. In the meantime, I'll just go back and try this one. And in this one too, I'm just seeing this one single API ID, right? I don't know why the other API IDs are not showing up. So something is going on. I mean, I did some kind of debugging right before the live stream, and I wasn't able to get the information easily. That's why I wanted to come in live stream and show you the process of me figuring this thing out. It's not easy, right? I'm kind of lost, to be honest. And once again, I used to be really good at doing this because when I was at Amazon working as a technical account manager, I used to do this like day in and day out. But now I'm kind of rusty on stuff like this. But we'll get there again. We'll soon be sharp when we debug these kind of things. All right. From your screenshots, CloudWatch is behaving correctly. The issue is just how you're querying the metrics. Right now, you're only looking at this, and CloudWatch is only returning one API ID. This means one of these is true. You're in US East 1. CloudWatch sees only one publishing metrics in that region. That API is an HTTP v2 with ID this. It likely has no traffic in the selected time window. Right? Now it says again, go to CloudWatch metrics, API gateway, then select API name and stage, which we did, which we did recently, right? And maybe what's happening is, let's go to last 6 months. We still just get the same numbers, right? API gateway, but ChatGPT is asking us to go to this one. And I'm still seeing just one. Still seeing this when I go to so the lesson here is give as much of hint as you can to your AI when troubleshooting. Right, I'm giving it the URL that I'm in. I'm giving it the actual contents of my screen. I can also give it a screenshot, but I just copy pasted the screen to see if that is helpful to the AI. Your second link is the smoking gun. You think you're on API name stage, but your URL is still filtering the Explorer with this. For some reason, my URL is messed up for some reason, right? So maybe there's something going on with my browser or something, but I'm not getting any luck. So what I'll do now is I'll say, can you give me a URL that might work? It's also giving me some AWS CLI commands, but let's see if okay, ChatGPT gave me a URL that's supposed to show me count metric across all the REST APIs. So let's see, and I'll be impressed if this works. No, it did not work. Yep, it is not working. So that link did not work. Something is going on, right? Something weird is going on. Open this first. Click count. Select the APIs you want, graph them. Okay. So it says open this first. Right? Okay. I did open that. Once it loads, click count. I don't see any option to click on count. So just keep giving it feedback. Now, option 2 is go to this link. Right? Yeah, still seeing just one API. So what it's saying is, if you only see one API, this is no longer a URL problem. It means either your other APIs are in another region, I don't think that's the case. I'm in Northern Virginia, and I can show you that most of my APIs are in this region. They've had zero traffic. That could be the case, or they are in another AWS account. Okay, now I want to disqualify this one right away, right? So I do have other accounts in my organization, but if I, and the account ID right now, the account that I'm in right now is 7714, right? So if I group by linked account, I'll see that oh, interesting. You know what? I'm getting a lead here. Looks like I'm getting a lead. Looks like okay. Okay. Ooh. Interesting. So what's happening now I see is the problem is not in this account. You know, the problem is not in this account. So, you know, we've been progressing one step by one step, right? So as I'm debugging this, now I realize that the problem is in a different account, all right? The account that's named DevOps Quiz Prod. And as I'm talking about DevOps Quiz, and by the way, this is just a coincidence, right? I meant to promote the quiz platform that I'm building, which you can access by going to learn.cloudyeti.io, which I'll show you right now. So it is this platform, and you can take these AI quizzes for AI certifications, right? AWS Certified AI Practitioner, Microsoft Azure AI, Google Cloud and AI, and NVIDIA AI certifications. You can take one quiz for free for each of the certification per day, right? So definitely feel free to check this out if you want to practice some AI, and I would love to hear some feedback from you, but this will help you pass the AI certifications. But back to our issue. Now I see that the problem is not in this account. That's why the API were not showing up in the metrics section, right? And ChatGPT actually gave us that hint, right? Which I'm, I'm impressed, but I'm not surprised, right? Because AI nowadays are really good. The funny thing is, right before this stream, I think I did this check, right? I think I checked all my accounts, and I thought the cost was coming from the main account, which I'm in right now, this one. But turns out the source of my problem is just, it is in a different account. And this is something that you run into when you're managing multiple accounts in your company, right? In your, organization. If you're in FinOps or DevOps role or whatever role you're in, and you're trying to optimize cost or debug your AWS usage and that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go into this account, the DevOps Quiz Prod account. So give me just a second. All right. So I think you can see the new account, the DevOps Quiz Prod account, and I do see there's a jump in the cost here. Coming from API Gateway. So I think we have our smoking gun. Now if I go to CloudWatch, and if I go to all metrics and API Gateway by stage, okay, count. Now if I go to 1 week, maybe 2 weeks, apply. Ooh, I see some activity right around here already. So now if I go to graph metrics, period of, or let's do like a sum every 5 minutes, I see something is happening here, right? Interesting. I don't know what's happening, but we'll need to find that out. Lots of requests coming in short bursts, right? This is interesting. I've not tried this feature called start a new investigation to investigate what is going on, but let's see if we can delegate this to AI. Interesting. It's already finding, like, it's already taking a snapshot of what I want to investigate. That's really interesting. So I'm just going to say start investigation, I guess. Oh my gosh, the analysis is already complete. So it's creating some analysis right now, so let's wait for it. All right, it's still creating the report. So far it just has this spike in request. You know, as the AI does its thing, let's see if we can find something. Right. It's still creating the report, like what happened in this time frame. So far it just has this let's see, spike in request. What can we do? You know, as the AI does its thing, let's see if we can find something. It's still creating the report, like what happened in this time frame. So far it just has the spike started happening. Let's see, spike in around request. The 7th. What can we do? You know, as like the AI does its thing, today. Let's see if we can find something. There seems to be a spike still creating the every now and then. So someone is hitting this API. So far it just has the spike started happening. Let's see, spike in around request. The 7th. Let's see what we can find. You know, as like the AI does its thing, today. Let's see if we can find something. There seems to be a spike still creating the every now and then. So someone is hitting this API. So far it just has the spike started happening. Let's see, spike in around request. The 7th. Let's see what we can find. You know, as like the AI does its thing, today. Let's see if we can find something. There seems to be a spike still creating the every now and then. So someone is hitting this API. So far it just has the spike started happening. Log anomalies, spike in around request. The 7th. No, log management. See what we can find. You know, as like the AI does its thing, today. Let's see if we can find no log groups. There seems to be a spike still creating the every now and then. So someone is hitting this API. So far it just has the spike started happening. Log anomalies, AI sort prep dev solution. Log management. What we can find. You know, as the AI does its thing, let's see if we can find no log groups. There seems to be a spike still creating the every now and then. So anyways, I think we you know, one of the outcomes of this live stream was we got to like near the root of where the problem was, right? As a cost optimization person in your company, this is what I think we will be doing. You know, now at this point you might ask the engineering team to be like, got to what was going on near the root of where the problem was, right? As a the cost optimization, why did the API person in your company, and this is what I think we will be doing, right? So now at this point you might ask the engineering team to be like, got to what was going on that during asking the right that is expected to happen. Again, these time frames, right? You could also get an API person in your company engineering saying this was not expected, right? So we'll do investigate. So at this point, you might so I chapter like or what was going on at that point is right that engineering has look at the logs, these time frames, right? You could also find out person in your company engineering saying this was not expected, right? So we'll do investigate. So at this point, you might so I chapter we can find really for like what was going on at that point the engineering has looked at the log, right? And also you could also share like one thing that we can do engineering saying this was not expected, right? So we'll do investigate. So at this point, you might let this happen. So I we can find really for firewall or nation firewall. At that point, the engineering has looked at the log, right? And also you could also share like one thing that we can do engineering saying this was not expected, right? So we'll do investigate. So at this point, you might let this happen. So we can find really for firewall or nation firewall. At that point, the engineering has looked at the log, right? And also you could also share like one thing that we can do engineering saying this was not expected, right? So we'll do investigate. So at this point, you might let this happen. So we can find really for firewall or nation firewall. At that point, the engineering has looked at the log, right? And also you could also share like one thing that we can do engineering saying this was not expected, right? So we'll do investigate. So at this point, you might let this happen. So we can find really for firewall or nation firewall. At that point, the engineering has looked at the log, right? And also you could also share